Gophers Coaches Corner.
Hey fans, Bobbie Bohlig here with Fox Sports North. Today we're super excited to be joined by the head volleyball coach over at the Gophers, Hugh McCutcheon. Coach, thanks so much for doing this. How are you doing today?
Yeah, so far so good. Thank you. Lots of Zooms and phone calls, but yeah, we're doing just fine.
Well, Coach, just wanted to dive, more into your coaching journey. I know you're from New Zealand. You collegiately played for BYU. I guess my first question is, how does a guy from New Zealand end up in America at BYU?
Yeah, a lot of random coincidences, really. There was a guy named John Kessel who still works at USA Volleyball, but John went to New Zealand to do some coaching clinics and, saw me when I was down there, and he'd been asked by the guy that was coaching at BYU at the time if he saw anyone to kind of hook him up. And so it was just, John went to New Zealand not to do the clinic so much as to do some fly fishing. And while he was there, he, picked up me and another guy actually from Australia.
Coach, looking at your resume, I think the biggest thing that jumps out is your Olympic experience, winning gold with the men's in 2008, winning the silver with the women's in 2012. What would you say was the best moment for you, in all the Olympic experience?
Yeah, probably a couple. I think, as we spoke to, winning the gold medal was a great experience, and I have such strong feelings for that particular group, especially because, a couple of years prior to that, we weren't the number one team in the world. We were pretty good, but we weren't great. We were a top 10 team, but we certainly weren't a top 3. And, the way I describe to people the Olympic journey, it's 4 years to be good for 2 weeks to hope to be good for the last 2 hours. It's so much that goes into it. And so, to that end, obviously winning it with the guys in 2008, phenomenal. Losing that match with the women was tough. It stinks to lose, but still you come away with a silver medal, and the body of work was pretty good. It was, we only lost one match in 2012, and that was the Olympic final. We were undefeated. So we were the best team in the world that year. We just weren't the best team in the world that day.
And Coach, you've built the volleyball program at the U tremendously. What's been some of the best moments for you as the Gophers coach?
Yeah, there's been a lot of really satisfying things about it. The first season I got here, like you said, we finished London. We went back to California, packed up our house, and we were here 2 weeks later and coaching in a preseason match. So it was just right out of the frying pan and into the fire. But, over the years, as we've, shifted things in terms of the culture and maybe the way we play a little bit, just to see the athletes develop and the amount of change that can occur over the 4 years from, a number of athletes that have really, changed their stars and gone from being, people that really didn't do much their freshman year to being, National Player of the Year or Big Ten Player of the Year when they're seniors. So I think that kind of journey, that ability to, have a positive influence over the course of this short time in their lives has been something that I think is really satisfying. If we talking in terms of outcomes, obviously, 3 Final Fours in the last 5 years, it's been a great thing to be a part of. And especially this last one was just really great because we were struggling for so much of the year. And even the 2015 one, when, we'd had such a tough year in 2014, was just a special thing to be a part of.
Like I said before, I read a really good article and had a great quote by you. I wanted to read it back, and I wanted you to expand on it a little bit.
Sure.
You said, we all want to try to become the best versions of ourselves. That idea of expanding and growing and trying to become better every day has been a constant theme for me. I'm not sure I chose the profession as much as it chose me.
Well, first of all, I never really planned on being a coach. It was initially a means to an academic end. It was a way to get grad school paid for, and it just turns out that I started to enjoy it more and more. And then as I kept going down the coaching path, there were just more unique opportunities, more life experiences that were being afforded me. So I just kept going. But that being said, the idea that you're constantly in an environment where you have to compete and you're forced continually to push to get better. It's an uncomfortable place to be at times, but it's a great place to be because it continues to force you to grow. And so to me, I spent, a pretty large part of my youth very undecided about what I was going to do and what I really wanted to be. And was pretty average at most things. I think mediocrity would have been a great word to describe most of my teen years. But once I kind of figured out that I had a chance to maybe do something in volleyball, then this, I don't know, commitment to excellence or whatever was in that quote, that became a big part of, how I was going to operate, because I always felt like I was behind. I was trying to catch up. There was an urgency to it, and also a constant need to continually evolve. And that's the one thing that coaching affords you, I think.
I really appreciate you doing this with us. Loved getting to know you and the program, and we look forward to following the team again next fall.
Sounds great.